Hi everyone, my name is Tanisha Affinito. I am chef and owner of Indigo Valley, a vegan food truck that's looking to open summer 2021 in the Matsu Valley in Alaska. I wanted to make some videos of my menu items, but also do some testing of my menu items. So that's what I'm doing today. And today I have a vegan chili and a vegan jalapeno cheddar cornbread on the side. We'll make the cornbread later. Let's get into making this vegan chili. I think every good video starts with a glass of wine. All right, so first we're gonna just saute up some onions and garlic. And I have a mix here of red and white onion. I wanna get that cooking. I'm not going to use all of it. I might need it for another recipe, so I'm just going to set the rest of that onions aside. I am going to season my onions here with some salt and some pepper. I like to cook my ingredients separately so they each have their own individual flavor. So that way everything just doesn't taste the same. It has like unique flavor. You can taste the onion, you can taste the carrot, you can taste the bell peppers. All right, I got my onions cooked down, really caramelized, so I'm gonna add in some chopped garlic, and this is about 5 or 6 cloves. All right, so my garlic's smelling pretty good. Now I'm gonna add my carrots. I just like to add carrots to my chili. I don't know if it's just a personal thing. I just like the flavor. They get cooked down really good. Why not? And like I said, I'm gonna season everything. Go in with my pepper here. Smelling good already. So I'm just looking for these carrots to be a little bit more caramelized, and then I'm gonna go in and add my bell peppers. Okay, so my carrots are where I want them to be. I'm gonna go in with my green bell pepper. And of course, I'm gonna season. Now, my chili is not going to take that long because my beans are already cooked. Everything is basically already done, and it can just go and simmer for about 30 minutes. But I want my vegetables to get a little color, a little more flavor, so that way when I do put them the rest of the ingredients in, my vegetables aren't going to be hard. You know, I want them tender, you know, just like the beans. And this can take about 15 minutes to do. Next, I have a whole jalapeno with the seeds. I'm just going to add it to the rest of my vegetables. You can already smell that jalapeno in there. It's smelling spicy. Go jalapeno. Okay. Now you can make this without the jalapeno. I just like the spiciness, and my family can withstand the spice, so I'm gonna add it, but you make it like you make it. So I want to start adding in my seasoning. And in here I have chili powder, oregano, paprika, I got some cayenne pepper and some chipotle pepper, garlic salt, and I usually would add onion powder, but I didn't have any today, so we're just gonna add this in there. I have 1 tablespoon of taco seasoning. I have 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. And I'm just gonna mix everything together. And I'm gonna cook this for just a couple minutes, just so the flavors can kind of get into those vegetables and they have time to marry before all the rest of these ingredients get in there and that water dilutes it. They just need their own time. We're gonna go in with our tomatoes. This is 2 cans of tomatoes, not drained. The tomatoes are just gonna help us get all those good, yummy things off the bottom of our pot here. Gonna scrape the bottom. We don't want any flavor left behind. All right, so we got the tomatoes incorporated in there. So I'm gonna go in with my hominy, and this is also 2 cans of hominy, but this is drained and rinsed. We're just gonna dump that in. And since it's pretty well seasoned, there's not gonna be much that I need to season after this. I have some, actually this is a tablespoon of veggie stock base that I like to use. So this concentrate is really good. I use it in a lot of my recipes. All right, and lastly, we're gonna add the beans. Now, these beans, I did a quick soak on these beans, and this is about 6 to 8 cups of, I have pinto and black beans. Usually I would use really any beans that I have. I like to use a variety of beans, even like cannelloni beans or a navy bean, along with the black beans, pinto, and even the kidneys. But this is just what I had, so we're gonna use what I had. Might need a bigger pot. All right, we're looking good, guys. So I like to add water to my chili because I want to let this cook for a while, and I just kind of want everything to get incorporated, and it's looking a little dry. So we're gonna add some water to this, and I probably should put it in a bigger pot also, so I'll do that. All right, so I got myself a bigger pot, so I have lots of room to get this chili cooking. Like I said, I like to add water to my chili, and I just add enough to cover. And then I go in with my masa. This, I think, is the secret to this recipe. It just adds that thickness that I like in chili, especially since I'm adding water to it. So it gives it more depth of flavor. So I'm gonna add this masa. This is about 2 tablespoons to some water, and I'm just gonna pour it into my big pot here. Now you don't want to just add the masa straight into there because you'll get clumps for sure. So I'm just gonna whisk it together, and I'm gonna pour it into my large pot. Okay guys, we're gonna let this cook. I have some time, so I'm probably just gonna let it simmer for about an hour. But usually, probably it'd take about a good 30 minutes. And we're gonna get on that cornbread that I was talking to you about. Okay guys, we're gonna get started on our cornbread. So it is a jalapeno corn cheddar cornbread, vegan of course, okay? This is pretty simple. I grew up on Jiffy cornbread, so that is the base of this cornbread. Now the recipe is super easy to find. I Pinterested it. I had those ingredients in my pantry. I was able to use that, and that's what I've been using for over 5 years. I just really like that. So we're gonna go in with our cornmeal. I have flour here, sugar and salt. This is mostly sugar with like a teaspoon of salt. And I have baking powder. And I'm just gonna mix all my dry ingredients together first. You don't want to overmix cornbread, so that's why I mix the dry ingredients together. All right, so everything should look like this, like very well mixed. So I'm going to take my wet ingredients, and I have, this is flax egg. I use it as an egg substitute since I'm vegan. And then I have some cashew milk. You could really use any plant milk. I had cashew milk on hand. I like to use it in recipes. So I'm gonna mix my flax egg in with my cashew milk. And I let this flax egg sit for, it actually sat the whole time that I made the chili. I find that the longer it sits, the better. So there's no rush on it. I make it ahead of time. All right. So now that I have my flax egg and my cashew milk mixed together, I'm going to add in my other ingredients that really don't need to go into the milk. So I'm gonna add my corn, and this is 2 cups of corn. This was frozen corn. I also let it thaw while I was making chili. So that was about 30 minutes. I'm going to add half of a jalapeno, and I did not take out the seeds. And then I have 1 cup of vegan cheese. And I do stir this together. And like I said, I haven't poured any of my cashew flax egg mix in. All right, so we're gonna pour this in. I'm gonna switch to my spatula. I don't want to overmix, so that's why I'm switching to my spatula. All right, and this is a consistency that we're looking for, okay? It's not runny, but I can at least stir it. We're just gonna let this sit. Warming up my cast iron pan in the oven. The oven's on 400 degrees. So it's always good to let your cornbread rest before you cook it in the pan. So while this is resting, we're gonna go put some butter in a hot skillet. I'm gonna go get my cast iron skillet out of the oven. So she's smoking, and that's how hot it should be before you add your butter. I'm going to be really generous about putting it inside this cast iron skillet. So I have probably about 3 tablespoons of butter here, and I also add butter to the top of the cornbread when it's done, because you can't go wrong with this vegan butter. This is the one I use. I love this stuff. So we're just going to add it in. You can hear it sizzle. And I just want to like swirl it around the pan so the edges can get a little bit of that love. And I'm going to throw this back in the oven, probably for about 5 minutes or so. And I'm going to go clean up. All right, guys, so it's time to get that cast iron pan out of the oven. The butter has been cooking in there for about 5 minutes. The vegan butter. Look at that. That looks good. So we're going to make sure this is on a flat surface. And I'm gonna pour my cornbread into the hot skillet. Be very careful, this is really hot. The oven's on 400 degrees. All right, and I like to just even things out in here. That way we don't get any like big piles of cornbread. Smooth it all out. And we're gonna go back in the oven. All right, we're just gonna have to see how everything turns out when it's all done. All right, so we have finished the vegan chili, and I have a slice of my cornbread here, so I'm just gonna plate it. Ooh, looks so good. Look at all those big old chunky pieces of vegetable. So I'm just gonna garnish this with some cilantro. I have red onion. I have a little bit of avocado I'm gonna put on top. I'll move this out of the way. Some avocado and some vegan sour cream. That didn't want to behave itself. And then I'm just gonna add some lime on there. And there you go. Get a little bit of everything in my bite. I think that is food truck worthy. Maybe a little bit of cornbread, Definitely taste the corn in there. Just the right amount of sweetness. And that vegan butter definitely does it. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed making this meal, and we'll have more next week.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button down below.